If one were able to bend, twist, or distort the universal membranes, then it would be possible to travel to far distant galaxies. To travel, in fact, to the farthest reaches of our own universe, and possibly travel to other universes and other dimensions, simply by warping space-time. In Norway and China and Russia, during the Christmas holiday season in 2009, eyewitnesses photographed and filmed swirls and spirals in the sky. The mainstream media and the internet filled with images of perfectly shaped funnels and spirals. In some instances, spherical UFOs appeared from the center of these spirals. Is this some secret space technology using wormhole theory to travel across the universe? Or is this evidence that aliens are sending probes here via wormholes in order to collect data on planet Earth?
No, this is perfect. What the hell is it? It just went through the middle, look! The white light just came out through the middle.
It's a giant spiral of light that suddenly appeared over northern Norway. The winding image could be seen for hundreds of miles, fueling speculation that it was anything from alien invaders to a new phenomenon. Alex Marquardt reports from Moscow.
Norwegians were treated to a spectacular light show early Wednesday morning that immediately set tongues wagging, everyone asking what created that giant blue pinwheel in the sky. Speculation has settled firmly on a failed Russian rocket test. Russia's defense ministry has refused to comment, but military sources are telling leading Russian newspapers that there was a test of a Russian Bulava intercontinental ballistic missile that failed yesterday. It had previously been announced that there would be tests of the Bulava in the region between December 7th and 14th, and specifically from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, according to one Russian newspaper. But for now, that's simply the leading theory behind the mysterious blue lights. Alex Marquardt, ABC News, Moscow.
它究竟是地球的产物，还是天外来客？没有人知道。事实上，从20世纪70年代开始，这种螺旋状飞行物在我们国家已经不止出现过一次，却正好捕捉到了一个螺旋状的不明飞行物。根据这幅效果模拟图，我们发现，1987年和这次925新冠
量异常，而最为蹊跷的是，发光体旋转的过程中有一次明显的变向，从顺时针忽然转到了逆时针方向。这个让人匪夷所思的变向，是在照片中无法看到的，也是我们在电脑模拟的动画上都没有想象到的。登高。
Norwegian authorities are investigating strange lights seen in the Arctic sky. The spiraling white light was seen for several minutes Wednesday morning. Locals say the light appeared to be bigger than the moon. Thousands of Norwegians bombarded the Meteorological Institute to ask what that light could have possibly been. Some feared it could have been a meteor, others a black hole, and there are even those that thought it could be aliens. But defence experts in Oslo suggest it is more likely to have been a failed Russian missile launched from the area of the White Sea. They think a rocket probably went out of control and self-destructed. There's been no official comment, though, from the Russian military. Strange lights, strange lights, strange lights, strange lights.
As the Secretary General of the United Nations, an organization of 147 member states who represent almost all of the human inhabitants of the planet Earth, I send greetings on behalf of the people of our planet. We step out of our solar system into the universe seeking only peace and friendship, to teach if we are called upon, to be taught if we are fortunate. We know full well that our planet and all its inhabitants are but a small part of this immense universe that surrounds us, and it is with humility and hope that we take this step.
In the 1970s, NASA, with the assistance of Professor Frank Drake and Carl Sagan, designed 4 man-made interstellar probes. 2 were called Pioneers and 2 were called Voyagers. 2 of these probes are still sending data and images back to NASA to this day. They are way beyond Pluto and in deep, deep space. However, you can hardly find any information about the data being sent back to us from the official NASA website and public relations offices. These probes were partly powered by plutonium and a gravitational slingshot after photographing Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. Aboard these probes, there are gold-plated plaques of copper and video discs with recordings of people's voices, music, singing, and more than 100 images of tribal people, landscapes, and the Earth's oceans. The video discs are sealed in solid gold cases and have a stylus to play themselves. Any intelligent extraterrestrial would be able to see what humans sound like, hear many dozens of different types of languages, look at our naked bodies, and be able to find planet Earth easily by using a map designed by Carl Sagan, showing the Earth's position in relation to 14 pulsar stars. These plaques and video discs are the perfect interstellar calling card, inviting any alien race to come to planet Earth. During the 1970s, the highest levels of NASA management were still being run by Nazis such as Wernher von Braun, who had previously been an SS officer developing the secret space program for the Royal Bavarian Third Reich. Not surprisingly, the golden discs of the 2 Voyager craft contain a welcome message from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kurt Waldheim. Before he represented all nations on planet Earth as Secretary General of the United Nations, Kurt Waldheim was the President of Austria. He was also a former Nazi SS officer, found out to be complicit with war crimes, and it was Kurt Waldheim who presided over a meeting about UFOs with Dr. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée at the United Nations in New York in 1978. Within months of this meeting, the Star Wars weapons program was launched, which, according to former Pentagon officials, allows US Space Command to shoot down invading UFOs using intercontinental ballistic missiles launched from submarines. It is very, very obvious that NASA invested huge amounts of money into the Pioneer and Voyager projects, carefully designing golden plaques and golden records which would entice aliens to our planet. However, where is the contingency plan in case of alien invasion? Where are the NASA guidelines on how to initiate communication with these aliens if they do indeed find these disks and arrive on planet Earth? Officially, all NASA astronauts I have spoken to say that they have never been given any training whatsoever. They've never been told how to deal with an encounter with an alien. It is very, very clear from the writings of the people who attended the meeting about UFOs at the United Nations that some kind of protocol, a secret protocol to communicate with aliens, had indeed been planned secretly by officials. It was the French ufologist Jacques Vallée who first postulated a series of hand signals, sounds and colours which would be used to communicate with aliens. It was Jacques Vallée who inspired the character in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, played by Frenchman Francois Truffaut. In the film, it is a Frenchman who is organising the first meeting with aliens, and who is in charge of NASA operations at a secret facility out in the desert, far, far away from where members of the public can see the first historic meeting of humans and aliens. Pioneer 10 was the first of these man-made probes carrying a gold-plated map to be sent into interstellar space. Pioneer 10 was launched by NASA on March 2, 1972 to study Jupiter and eventually study interstellar deep space. While the spacecraft is believed to still operate properly to this day, communication has been lost since January the 23rd, 2003. Before this, Pioneer 10 was in extended mission to study the dynamics of the solar system boundary, including interplanetary magnetic fields, the solar wind, cosmic rays, and the so-called heliosphere. It seems that as soon as Pioneer 10 reached the boundary of the heliosphere, this is the place where the cosmic particles ejected from our Sun end, which is a teardrop-shaped bubble that stretches for millions of miles into space beyond Pluto. As soon as Pioneer 10 reached the outer boundary of the heliosphere, all communications with it abruptly ceased. This was not the first time that one of these probes carrying a map of how to find planet Earth mysteriously ceased operating. Pioneer 11, also known as Pioneer G, as in the letter G found in the international symbol for Freemasonry, a very apt name considering that many NASA astronauts and technicians are Freemasons, was launched by NASA on April the 6th, 1973 to study Jupiter